Hey guys, Tony Rodriguez here. Welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, episode 39 if you can believe it. Today I am going to have a special guest on, which will be hopefully coming on in just a minute. As I had mentioned in the intro, her name is Gina Ritchie. She is an author, speaker. She's a life coach. She's a mom. She's just an amazing person. So she's going to be joining us momentarily. I decided to do this outside. Hopefully the rain doesn't come back. We did lose, we gained a little bit of sunlight today. It just stopped raining about an hour ago. So I'm hoping that the weather holds out for the next hour. So Gina's just joining us. I'm going to see if I can bring her on camera. Beautiful day. It's about 70 degrees, so for October it is a blessing for sure. There she is. Hey Gina, don't forget to put your ears in. You know what, I'm actually speaking, I didn't put mine in, so let me just put mine in. Excellent.
Good.
Excellent. So I hope that sound is a little bit better. So great to see you, Gina. You're outside too, which is awesome. That means great to be seen. That means it stopped raining in South Jersey as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort
Drying up. Yes. It's not raining on me right here, so I'm happy. I love being outside in nature.
Fantastic. I actually did this outside. One of my favorite trees is the tree that's directly behind me. It's this huge tree. It's fantastic. I take a lot of pictures of it.
It's gorgeous. It just gave me an idea.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, like it's pretty. Somebody should draw that tree.
Yeah,
somebody should draw that tree, Tony. Maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe they should. There's actually a swing under that tree. I don't know if you can tell. We put a swing under there for the kids.
Oh,
so it's really cool.
Really cool. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Especially in the
awesome.
fall.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In the summer, fall, all the time. My kids climb the trees and read books. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I love it.
It's always good to have that happen. So welcome to episode 39, if you can believe it, of Tony Talks. You know, this is something that started as a challenge, and we're up to 39. So thank you for joining me today on this beautiful day. For those of you who are new to us, Tony Talks is a Facebook Live show where I come on. It's really, it's my podcast, but I'm doing it on Facebook. So it's a vlog cast, or however you want to look at it. No worries. So this is an interactive conversation. This is not only a conversation with Gina and I, but it's a conversation with all of you. So feel free to ask questions. So Tony Talks is a show where I interview inspirational leaders, influencers, change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but are doing good in the world, spreading a message and helping people grow through what they go through. So welcome, Gina. I appreciate having you here. So just tell us a little bit about who Gina is, and where you came from, and maybe how we met, and we'll take it from there.
Got it. Okay, so how we met. Well, first of all, I am Gina, also from New Jersey, and I met you at the end of my Date with Destiny journey, my first and only so far Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins event that I went to that changed my life completely. We met at Newark Airport on the return of my very early morning flight. And you helped me with my luggage, and you helped me get to where I needed to go that day. So I was very grateful to meet you, and I was like, oh my gosh, a trainer. So it was great to talk to you and to get to know you a little bit, and I appreciated you helping me out with you there. And so a lot has transformed since that Date with Destiny, 2017. A lot.
It's been an amazing ride, right? The last couple of years has just been explosive growth for so many. Certainly for you, I've loved watching you grow as well, and certainly I've been in my own journey of growth and development for the last several years. So we all keep growing and going and growing.
Yes.
Right.
I love that.
So,
we all grow through what we go through, for sure.
We're all absolutely. Well, hopefully we're growing through what we're going through. Some of us aren't, which is why I'm here, you're here, Tony Robbins is here, and so many other people that are here to really help everybody kind of grow through what they go through. We'll get up and go, but not everybody has the ability or the knowledge or the will to get up and grow, because the grow is where the magic happens. The grow is where you take it to the next level. So So tell us a little bit about your story. You know, you've got a very inspirational story, which is why we're here. Again, it's about growing through what we go through, and you've got a touching story that touched my heart, and certainly something that that unfortunately a lot of other people have to go through as well. And so I just want to have you come on and share a little bit of your story. So Jason, hey Jason, what's up? Jason is here. Cody's
Awesome.
here. Nora's
Hi,
here.
guys.
Juliet, Dane, everybody says hello.
Awesome.
Timea, Dana, who else? Edward Hayes here. And Scott Robertson, of course, Gina Ritchie, which is,
Awesome.
you know, I'm glad you
Oh,
made it. So go
thank
ahead. So tell
you.
us a
Thank
little
you
bit
so
about
much.
you, and I'll
How sweet. Glad to
Jason says too much hotness on the screen. All
Well,
right. Well,
thank
you
you,
know what? Thanks,
Jason.
Jason.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to meet you in real life, Jason. Well, well, my story, you know, I'll start where what I feel as though my journey really began when my daughter, who at the time was 3.5, and we're talking 20 years ago, and I were standing in her doctor's office, and they said, well, we went to a doctor, and the doctor sent us to an oncologist, and they said, you know, we're really, really sorry, but your daughter has a very rare leukemia. And she's 3, and I'm standing here alone with her, holding her hand, and she's just the light, like my second child, and my daughters were the light of my life and still are, and my kids, you know, are my world, and I melt into her arms. Like, she's this 3.5-year-old girl with this blonde hair and this blue eyes and this big smile, and I just melt into her arms, and she holds on to me, and she says, "Mommy, everything's going to be all right." And I'm crying, you know, I'm just a complete puddle. Um, and then she says that to me, and I go, okay, I gotta buck up here, and I gotta get strong, and I gotta talk to the doctor, and I gotta tell them that they're wrong. There's a mistake made, you know, and of course, you know, we go into severe, fear mode. I go into severe fear now. I'm like holding on to my daughter for dear life. I'm like, I'm never going to let you go. I'm never letting you go. You know, and she keeps going, "Mommy, everything is going to be all right." And I'm thinking, how could she say that? You know, how could she say that? Like, how could this be all right? And how is my 3-year-old telling me, you know, because of course her spirit was so much bigger than her, and her soul was so much bigger, you know, than I could comprehend anything that was going on. But something about her saying that to me was making me good and making me feel like eventually everything is going to be all right. Now, of course, you know, there was a bit of a roller coaster for a while, and the next a couple days later, they told us that she didn't have leukemia, that there was something else that she had that was not life threatening. And of course, my prayers were answered, and everybody was praying around the world. Prayers were answered, and I was beyond grateful. And then a month later, they said, "Oh, wait, we're sorry. She has an even worse kind of leukemia than we originally thought." So as you can imagine, you know, the emotional roller coaster just in that time and space was bigger than I can express right now. But anyway, she said, they said basically no one has ever survived without a bone marrow transplant. And you know, if I was like, well, do I need to have a baby? If my other daughter doesn't match her, like, what do I need to, like, how we need to, you know, we need to do everything possible to save her. And so as a mom, at the time I was 30 years old, I cherished my 2 daughters. Like, I grew up with sisters, so I was grateful to have 2 little girls and that they were close. And, you know, it was so important to me to be a good mom. And I just, you know, my soul was crushed, and I wanted to do whatever it took to save her life. Of course, I was out of my hands. You know, it's out of our hands. And I had to figure out how to be strong, and then how to think positive, but I had like extreme fear. You know, it felt bigger than me. And in any event, 5 months later, she was gone. The bone marrow transplant and the what that did to her body basically took her down. And as we were in the hospital for 3 months in the ICU at the Fairview University Medical Center in Minnesota with one of the top pediatric bone marrow transplant doctors. And I just, you know, I continued to have this hope that she would be okay, and somehow she would get through it, and that all the prayers were going to be answered. People told me, when you pray, God answers your prayers. And I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school my whole life. The day she was diagnosed, the next day I was in confession for 2 days. Like, I wasn't a very religious person at the time because, you know, kind of had that Catholic childhood, Catholic schoolgirl thing too much of it in my childhood. So as in my own adult, I just did my own thing. But I was like, okay, they say, so I was praying and I was having confession and, all these things, thinking I was somehow going to be, and I believed it was going to be okay. And anyway, there was a moment in the hospital. She became brain dead, and it was just her and I in the hospital, and but her blue eyes, she had these big blue eyes with like a sunburst around them, and she just was peering into my soul, and I was just holding her hand, crying. I'm crying, and I think, like, this is like God. I felt like an incredible presence. I couldn't explain, right. It was like she was staring through my soul, and she was saying, "Mommy, everything's going to be all right." But in my heart, I knew it meant that it was without her. I felt it. Sorry, in that moment, and but I continue to have faith and hope, I should say. But I knew in that moment that it meant that she wasn't going to be here. And shortly thereafter, she left, and I had to let her go, which was and laying in bed with her, and like having them take her off the ventilator was like maybe the most, I can't even express how that felt. So that being said, here we are. This is 20 years later, and that was a very long journey. I was a puddle of a mom, yet there was something inside my soul that said, don't lay in bed and cry all day. Get up and go work out. Get up and, take care of your daughter, your living daughter, who was seven at the time, who needed me. And at the same time, I wanted to go to heaven really bad. So there were, quite a few moments where I had the keys in my hand in the garage and the car and I just wanted to be there with her. It was better off, I was better. They were all better off without me, because I was a mess at the time, in the early part. But yet I'd feel her spirit going, oh no, mommy, you are not supposed to be here. I am. You're supposed to be there with Haley. And so I kept feeling that. And I had my daughter, my living daughter, like in my third eye, just going, I need you, mommy. I need you, mommy. So that always pulled me through. And I knew, I had to get beyond that and rise above those dark moments that were there, that were very strong. Yet I would also hear my daughter, I'd hear her talking to me and hear things. So that would help me rise above it. And I had this fire in my soul that was like, not only are you meant to be here on this earth, but you're also meant to do a lot because of all that you're going through. And I'm seeing that all now, like, coming to fruition now, because it took me a lot of years in the dark to rise above that and realize what I'm meant to do here. But it was a long time of feeling that, I was always being kind of reminded, and I had signs. I had a medium in my life that like changed everything for me early on. And my daughter would just speak through her. And so I always went the spiritual route. I did energy healings. I needed to see mediums. I wanted to go to psychics and anybody that I could potentially have them bring her to me through, something spiritual, as opposed to like taking medication. And that wasn't for me. Anyway, so it was a long road of pain and sadness. And eventually 5 years later, my now ex-husband and I had a son, but we had a lot of tough, toxic years in our marriage because I was really overprotective. Not just because I don't take full account, I take 100% accountability of my part, but I was super overprotective of our kids, our living kids. Like, no, nothing that wasn't organic. And like I always said, we're gonna get a divorce over a bag of Doritos and Gatorade, because like he would bring that into the house, and like Kraft macaroni and cheese, and I would be like, no, we're not giving that to our kids. Like my son, I mean, even when I had my son, I wanted to have him at home. Like I did not want to go to a hospital. I didn't want to be in a hospital again after what I've been through. So I had a midwife. I had my son at home in my bed. Much to everyone's dismay, but I did the work. I did the research, and I was like, no, I'm having him at home. I'm having a natural. That was hard, but I did it. It's gotten way more painful than I expected it. But I was like, no, fuck that. I'm strong, excuse me. But, I was like, I got this. I've been through the worst of the worst, and I've got this. So, and I had a lot of spiritual help and guidance. And and my son is here now. He's 15. He just went to go watch the Jets with his friends, and, he's running around having a good time. My older daughter's 26. And we had a lot of tumultuous years in our marriage because of lots of our values shifted and changed, and eventually we got divorced. And I You know, I can speak to a lot of being a victim and like living in that space. I really learned how to come out of that, especially, I mean, I was already understanding that because I was like, watched The Secret many years ago, and like The Shift, by which Dana talks about, that movie was awesome. I watched that about 12 years ago with Wayne Dyer. So I was always seeking that kind of, you know, that kind of practice and muscle that would help me grow
Right.
through what I was going through. And anyway, so I felt like this fire in my soul to do something with it. And I said back then I said I'm going to write a book. 20 years ago, I knew I wanted to write a book. And this year at the beginning of the year, I said, okay, I'm writing my book. It's happening, and it is happening. We're almost finished. And, you know, I've written an excerpt for another book within my story. And, I just, everything that was calling me, it took me getting divorced. I hate to say it. It took me like letting go of my marriage, even though I really didn't want to, because I was afraid to have another loss, frankly. It was a big loss to me, especially I'm an Italian mom. I was devoted and dedicated to my family. I didn't want to let that go, even though it was like we were walking on eggshells. It was just not good.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know, it's
yeah,
the power of
yeah,
surrender is, you know, right? You're surrendering to what it was. And, you know, there's a lot of power in that. And I say all the time that surrender isn't giving up, or giving in. It's just kind of letting things
right.
flow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I can't imagine how difficult that was, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are going through that right now and that are going to go through that next year and the year after that. So that's why it's important for you to share your story. You know, if you heard me say it to Danny, you've heard me say it many times that your story is not yours to keep, it's yours to share. So you're in the process of doing that. And I think that there's a lot that a lot of people can learn that are going through similar things, or even if they're not going through those things, just the ability to get through what you went through and to have those mindset shifts and to really focus on, you know, what's important and what you want. And you know, and I certainly know that you know this, but your daughter telling you that 3.5 years old, that everything's going to be okay. You know, I think that children, certainly under the age of 5 and 6 years old, are just they're more spiritual beings than anything else, right? I think that, you know, was it Baby Talk, the movie Baby Talk, years and years ago, where, you know, until the baby starts speaking, they're like connected and they know everything, right? But the minute they start speaking, they kind of lose that connection. So I think that that in that moment, she knew,
Yeah.
and she knew you were going to be okay, and she knew that everything was going to be okay. And, you know, nobody can explain why. You know, again, that's one of those things that, you know, when we talk about, and you say it as well, that when we talk about that life is happening for us, something like that kind of, you know, hit you like a truck and say, how the is that happening
Yes.
for me?
Yes.
How does that happen for me? But
Mm.
you know what, the reality of it is, maybe, you know, we have people that come into our lives, whether it be as adults or as children, and they leave early or they stay longer, or and that in every way and facet of thinking about people staying and going, but they just come in. Maybe that was their time to be here. She made more of an impact on you in 3.5 years than than some people make in a lifetime, right? So
Absolutely.
now it's your turn to take that message and spread it and help other people go through it. So
Absolutely.
she was an angel. She still is your
Yeah.
angel. And, you know, what else can I say
Yeah.
about
No,
that?
it's true.
You can say a lot more to
Well,
it than
and what
I.
I learned over that time, and really early on, because I had this friend that was like a medium, so she was really helping me with this spiritual work. And I mean, it was just something that was a gift. Like, she was a businesswoman, she just had this gift to connect with those who've passed and with spirits. And she kept saying to me, you know, her soul chose you, and your husband, and you know, she chose this path, you chose this path. You know, we all choose our path. And as I learned about that and started to embrace that, although it took many years for me to accept that. Um, and a lot of this is about acceptance, right? You have to eventually accept that this is what it is, and this is there's some reason this is all happening. But I believed that, and then I thought, okay, like I really do believe that, because I went and I built a lot of my spiritual muscle, because that's what helped me grow through it. And and I sensed it then, you know, and I can understand it, and I do a lot of, you know, meditation and stuff that would allow me to connect and really comprehend that this is so much bigger than us. It's so much bigger. I mean, even I think about all the dots connecting even over my childhood. Honestly, the when I was a little girl, I had a really nice family life. My parents, I thank God every day for that, because I know a lot of people don't have an easy childhood. And I had a beautiful family life, and I had cousins that had some drama going on in their homes. And I remember thinking, God, I'm so thankful my parents have a good marriage. I'm so thankful for my life. We travel. I'm so grateful. And I thought to myself, gosh, you know, I bet someday something really bad is going to happen to me because I'm pretty lucky right now. And I was probably, you know, 10 or 11, but I think about that, and it's like, it's just interesting. You know, I think, well, why did I think that when I was a little girl? And then, and then there's this whole manifestation piece. I don't really know, but it's not that I manifested that, but like I knew I was also already being shown. I mean, I have an incredible story. If you want to say something, did you want to say something? Because I want to share a story that's really powerful after that, that's around this.
Listen, it's all part of the journey. And, you know, Sandy came on and said, amazing how you turned all your pain into bright light for others. And sometimes it takes going through the dark to be able to see the light and to be able to find that. And sometimes it takes people a year, 5 years, 10, 20, sometimes it takes a lifetime. But, you know, the fact that, again, we're all here to share a story and to help ease suffering wherever we can. At least certainly that's my mission. I know that that's yours.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was something that I was going to say along the way, but it kind of, that's what I was going to say. The dots, you said something that was interesting and important, that, you know, how you connect the dots. The reality of it is, and we all need to start focusing and remembering and realizing that the bad things that happen in our life, they're just dots.
Yes.
The good things that happen in our life are just dots. You know, one of the things that I learned from Steve Linder, you know, through the NLP course that I took, that he said, you know, if somebody says something or does something, what does that say about them? What does that say about you? Or what does that say about the situation? And people would say different things. And it says, no, it's just a dot.
Right.
It's just a dot. You don't really know what that means because you don't know the backstory. You don't know the story. If somebody meets you, they don't know your backstory. They don't know where you've been. So how you reacted or acted or said and what you said, it was just a dot. They don't know the backstory. That's a dot. How I act and react is a dot. And throughout our lives is a series of dots, right? And, you know, if you remember taking pointillism in you know, as pointillism, my God, there's a word from my childhood. You know, art, and you're about the same age, so you probably took the same class, right? Art, right? And it's paintings created by dots, and the kids still do it because my kids have done it. And just paintings created by dots, and it's just a red dot and a black dot and a yellow dot and a blue dot and a green dot, and there's a whole bunch of dots. And then as we go through our life, we start pulling further and further away from that painting, and it starts to turn into something, right? So the things that happen in our life are just dots. And I encourage everyone to realize that it doesn't matter how much pain you're going through right now, whatever difficult thing you've been through, all of the difficult things that you've been through, they're just dots, right? And they're just colors on that painting of your life, because your life is a masterpiece. You are the painter of this masterpiece. And the things that happen in life, they're the paint. So you just got to keep working the paint. That's another kind of talk that I have about your masterpiece and working the paint. But you're the artist. You're holding the brushes, and the only time that painting becomes a masterpiece is when those brushes fall to the ground because you can't hold them anymore because you expire. That's when your painting is done. Until then, we keep adding dots. Until then, we keep working the paint. Until then, we keep working the pain, and maybe it's pain and then it's pleasure, but you can't have one without the other. And sometimes the hardest nights or the most difficult times turn into the most beautiful moments. And you know, anyway, so I digress.
That's not digress, though, because it's actually the very first line in my book is, as I look back at my life, I can connect all the dots. It's
I love it.
First part of
there you go. Well, here's another dot.
Yes, this is a wonderful dot. Thank you. And dot. I mean, it's amazing to me to be able to really step back and observe the dots, even from my childhood when I thought everything was wonderful, and it was, you know, but I came from a codependent Italian family, which was awesome. At the same time, you know, I look back at my marriage and I can say, oh, wow, I was codependent. Like, you know, I can see these pieces of me of like playing victim and like, and I go, oh, okay, now I get why that I behaved this way or that way. When you can step back and look at all the dots as they connect, you know, and how this all come together and what do I want to do different was really, for me, it was like, what do I want to grow? Like I had a hunger to grow. I mean, I remember early after she died, I remember somebody saying to me, well, do you want to be bitter or better? And I said, better.
Mm.
Like, I want to wake up every day and be better. I don't want to be bitter. Of course, I don't want to be bitter. I mean, I know there's people who can't get up out of bed after losing a child. You know, and my heart breaks when I see that. And I know that eventually that they'll find their way, whatever that way is. But that wasn't for me. I had to get up and grow. I had to get up and grow, Tony, as we say, as you say.
Awesome. I've heard that line somewhere before. I'm not sure where
I
I
don't
heard
know.
that.
But I felt that. I had a hunger to get up and grow. So I was always looking for that. But it didn't mean I had a lot, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I over smothered the heck out of my living daughter because I was so afraid of something happening to her that I really overprotected her. And then my son, when he came and, I think that just was what it was. I didn't know better because I just was so afraid of anything happening to them. Oh, that's so peaceful and beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
And
That's
there,
really nice. I'll take that
yeah,
opportunity to just jump in and just to read a couple of things. Jose Sanchez, it is so brave of you to share your story with the world. You're a truly wonderful woman. Jose, you're only saying that because it's true. Um, Timia says, I just learned that this week our mess becomes our message. Absolutely. Our mess absolutely becomes our message. And your mess really is for nothing unless you make it your message. Your mess, you just went through the crap for nothing, and it means nothing unless you learn the lesson from it and make that your message. Dana says, love it. Do you want to become bitter or better? I say that to people all the time. The bad things that happen in your life, they'll either make you bitter or they'll make you better. The choice is absolutely yours. So Jose Sanchez is asking, what is the book called and will it be
Oh,
available?
thank you. So the title right now is Courage Beyond Grief, and I am tightening things up. And you'll know, I'll let you know when it will be out. My goal is the end of this year. So we'll see, but stay tuned.
Awesome.
And friend me and you'll be able to know when that's happening. I mean, I'm sure Tony will share it.
And Dana just gave me a gut punch, and I'm going to share it with you. She said, the bird in the background, your daughter's
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
Oof.
Yeah. Thank you, Dana.
Signs are everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, signs are everywhere.
those were very powerful for me along the way too. Signs, there's a story, like my older daughter was 7 at the time. And in her, actually, like when she was maybe 4 and her little sister was just, had been maybe 1, she came running down the stairs. Mommy, where's Kylie? Where's Kylie? And I said, she's right there playing. She's okay. She's okay. I just had this dream that we were in the mall and then all of a sudden she was gone, right? Like a year later, Mommy, where's Kylie? Where's Kylie? She comes running down the stairs. I said, honey, she's right outside playing out on the deck. She's fine. What's the matter? Oh, Mommy, I had this dream, that she ran out the front door one day to play and she never came back and she was gone. And then she said the night before she died, she said, Mommy, I had a dream that this beautiful white airplane pulled up above the hospital and these angels put a ladder out to the hospital room and Kylie climbed up and went into the plane. I mean, and I said, well, I think that that's what's happening right now. And that was exactly, she was dying in that time, and it's just powerful there's, like it's so much bigger than we know. There's so much, so many signs that we get. And I had a lot of other signs along the way. And what's happening there?
The mail truck just came around my circular driveway, not knowing she can't really drive around that way because my truck is in the way. Okay. All right. Well, there's a pattern.
Totally. So, but now I can look back and I cherish those memories and those signs that were happening along the way. And I think, oh, okay, more dots connecting,
Yeah. There's always dots. And you know what? And you just made me think of, certainly it's something that I think about on a regular basis, but, and I never even shared this story with you, but since we're talking about signs and we're talking about these things, so I'm going to share a personal story since you're sharing one. And So we have two boys, as you know, and a few years ago we were going to have another boy, and through a series of miscarriages and what have you, my wife got pregnant again, and about 4 months, a little over 4 months, something wasn't right. We went to the hospital. Hold on, that's leaving again.
Taking a breath. Take a breath. He said.
Yeah. And we went to the hospital. Something was wrong, and she had some kind of infection. Something happened. Something happened, and we lost the baby. So we delivered the baby, and it was a baby. So that was, to say it was traumatic is an understatement. To make matters worse, she got a systemic infection, and she almost died. So I wasn't expecting to go here today. So we lost the baby, and yeah, well, so a nun or somebody, part of the grieving process at the hospital, and like I said, for a couple hours she was hit and miss. She was fading, and thank God she survived, because that would have, I don't know what that would have been like, but anyway, let me just kind of go past that for a second. We got, a cast of Michael's footprint, and his name is Michael, because it was a baby, so we had the funeral and all of that. But that day, or before we left the hospital, one of the nurses, or the nun or somebody came and gave us a hat box that was painted, that had his little hoodie in it and some other things, and it had a blue butterfly on it, right? Oh. So it had a blue butterfly on it, and that's meaningful because when we came home 2 days later, there's a blue butterfly on our deck.
This used to be blue. It was made blue, by the way. So just
yeah. So
blue butterfly.
Man. So Mila, Mila, the photographer for Tony, always has this blue butterfly on her neck, and it always catches my attention when that happens. But this blue butterfly kept coming around. The blue butterfly kept coming around for months. And every time we saw it, it's like, a message. Anyway, there's more to that story. But anyway, that's not where we were going today. You just pulled that story out of me.
That's beautiful, because we have to believe in those signs.
So, yeah, well, the signs are everywhere. And you know what? We've got to believe that, he was here for the fraction, for just a minute, right? And your daughter was here for the time that she was here, and it was just like a minute, and we're all here in the span of time. It's really just but a minute, right? So it's the life we live in those minutes. It's the impact that we can make in the lives of the people that we touch. And just to kind of go back to the signs are everywhere. The blue butterflies still come around, which I hadn't noticed blue butterflies in New Jersey until that happened. And the blue butterflies come around. Now they're black and blue, or they're blue, or, there's always butterflies around my house, and dragonflies and all kinds of, with the blue wings, and, these things are everywhere. So anyway, so I digress. This was not an interview for me today. But anyway, this is the way things go, guys. Tony Talks is always an interesting thing, because what the reality of it is, we're all growing, right? And we all go through things, is the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone through some things. I've gone through a lot of things, and Gina's gone through a lot of things, and you have gone through a lot of things as well.
Mm.
And the reality of it is, it's not about how many times you fall that you guys hear me talk about it, because we all
Yeah.
fall, right? It's how many times you get up, and it's about getting up. And then when you finally get up, is, you know, share your message like Gina is sharing now, because that'll hopefully give somebody else the courage to keep growing and to keep, you know, sharing that story and to keep being the best version of you. Um,
Yes. 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 I mean, yeah.
so anyway, let's see where we are. I keep saying anyway here as a filler for some reason.
It's
It's not something, I'm trying to stay away from that.
that's
So,
okay. It's
so then tell us, so you overcame that by pushing your way through, muscling through, and then
muscling,
unfortunately, you know, that winds up, well, that's what it is, right?
muscle,
We've got to muscle
muscle.
through, because we've got to live for the people that are still here. We got to
Mm.
live for those that need us,
Yes.
right? Because they don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
And look, here, Mila just came
Hi,
on. Mila, I was just
Mila.
talking about you and your blue butterfly that always touches me, and you don't know why, but if you watch this video, you'll
Yeah.
understand why
Well,
that
I
is.
just felt like this. I had to show you this
Um,
because I just felt like it connected me more to you, Tony, even though we're already connected. And so I'm glad you shared your
yeah,
story. And
yeah,
it, I just it matters so much. And I remember after she died, she died in 1999. She was 3.5, and 2 years later was 9/11. And I live in an area, as you do, where I'm sure you lost a lot of people, and we did too. We're right
sure.
now, right by New York City. I'm in like Wall Street Central area over here, right? And so that gave me knowledge I didn't expect to have to go out and help other people who were grieving. It gave me insight that I didn't expect to have. That gave me the courage to be able to go out, and I wanted to help other people in their grief, and I was able to do that because of what I went through. Because can you imagine if I was just laying in bed and not doing anything with it? And I went out and I started a foundation for kids with cancer and their families for 10 years, and these things that I need to do that start to make an impact. And now to really see that calling that's coming to fruition, that I can actually make a bigger impact, which I actually didn't realize, I think, until I went to Date with Destiny, that I started to really believe in myself that I could make that bigger impact that I felt in my soul, that awakening that was starting to happen. But I was like, but how do I make a bigger impact? But then when I started to really comprehend that with, this amazing tens of thousands of people that were learning and growing because of what Tony and what you guys do and the trainers. And I'm so grateful. I started to believe in myself and take the steps necessary to take 100% accountability for my living in victim and living in the sadness that I was living in for so long, the pain. I didn't want that anymore. Like I knew that was blocking me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole part about growing. We got to grow
Right.
through it. You know, the things we go through in life, it is about growing through them. You know, the things that hurt us aren't meant to kill us. They're forcing us to grow to the next level. And, you know, and again, that's why, again, you know, what you've gone through and what you continue to grow through, and just sharing your story helps other people, gives other people hope. Unfortunately, it cost, your marriage unfortunately didn't survive that for and you went through some dark times in that as well. But, there's life after death. There's life after divorce. And, we've got to live,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've got to live, because just if you don't grow through, if you don't let that go, then you're not living, you're
Right.
existing. And existence is not why we're here.
Right.
We're not just here to
No, we're
exist.
here to make an impact and create a ripple and love. And it's so powerful when you can really start to recognize what's happening in your life, that you can take that and and share it, own it, share it, and help other people grow through what they go through because of what you went through, if that's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
you know?
And yeah, and the reality, so it's kind of great that we're having this. I'm tying kind of a bunch of stuff in together, because 2 hours ago when we were on the phone, it was raining so freaking hard. Hell, I did a video and I put it on there. That was maybe close to 3 hours ago. It was raining
Yeah, it
hard,
was.
and I was out here, and it was a storm, and it was such a dark storm. It was raining so hard. We probably got 2, 3 inches of rain. There's flooding. There's this and everything else. But what comes after the storm?
The sun, it always comes out. It's one of my daughter.
The
Yeah.
sun always comes out after the storm.
Mm.
You know,
It's
the
beautiful.
storm does not last forever,
Beautiful.
right? The storm doesn't last forever.
No.
You know, storms come and go, and sometimes the storms are here to clear away and knock the leaves off the trees that have to come down, and they come to nourish the ground, and they come to wash things away,
Yeah.
right? And in our life, sometimes, you know, those storms come, and, you know, those tears are there to cleanse our soul, and the bad things that happen for us force us to grow. And those are the things that are meant to make us grow. Those are the things that are supposed to, you know, like I say it all the time, you've heard me say, the crap that happens in our lives is meant to fertilize our future, not to keep us in a shitty place. So many people don't let go of that shit and hang on to that shit and keep that shit so long. And you know what? And, you know, there's some people on here that, you know, Dana, Lisa Gang, she is an absolute, you know, example of growing through what she went through, and the forgiveness and the gratitude that she's got for life. You know, the gratitude that you have for your children, the gratitude that I have for my children that are healthy, fortunately, and the gratitude that I have for my wife, because thank God she survived. I don't know who or where I'd be without her. You know, just the amount of gratitude that sometimes that loss causes us to experience. And it's so important to, you know, so important to recognize that, right? And you know, just as an aside, I just welcome everyone to reach out to somebody that you love, that you haven't, you know, tell them you love them, tell them that they matter, tell them that you care, tell them that you accept them, tell them that you forgive them, tell them that whatever, you know, because tomorrow is not promised, my friends, and today is a gift, or as our friend Amanda likes to say, today is the gift, tomorrow's not promised. And the people that died yesterday had plans for today, and the people that'll die today have plans for tomorrow. So live your life and just reach out and touch someone, so to speak. And you know, as a matter of fact, I've got a couple of calls to make after our call here. But just you know, unfortunately, the losses help us to focus on what it is that we've got to be grateful for.
Sure. And that's,
So
that's what I was going to just say. I'm just a little, you know, that was one of the biggest things I just want to say for me as I started to really gain my spiritual muscles. I really began to stop feeling sorry for myself and go into gratitude for everything, you know, the rain, the sun, my pillow. I had to go slowly, if it was just my pillow for a day, just so I could get into gratitude and get out of the pain and sadness. And we know gratitude changes everything, really, and forgiveness, self-forgiveness. You know, that was a big thing for parents who lose a child or whatever. If you lose, you know, I had to forgive myself, and that took some time. So I just wanted to add that in because you were talking about gratitude and forgiveness. So.
Oh no, don't apologize. That's absolutely, you know, it's all part of it. It's all part of the ride. So the other thing, because we're, you know, again, I want to be respectful of your time and everybody else that's on here. So Orlando says spiritual muscle. I love it. Dana says there is no death, just those on another side of the door in non-physical pain. It's so true.
Yes.
So true. Orlando says nothing wrong with falling. It's when you stay down that's an issue. Absolutely. So the other thing you talk about, and I want you to share with everyone, is to become unoffendable.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I know that's part of your journey. And that's such an important part, because we live in a society today that everybody's offended because, you know, those ducks offend me, because, you know, the person's whatever. Everybody's so offended and everybody's so sensitive these days. And, you know, we have, you know, in Jersey, we have snowflakes in the winter, but hell, we seem to have them all year round everywhere. So everybody just gets so offended by everything. Including that statement I just made. So, you know, I'm sorry. No, actually, I'm not.
I'm a New Jersey,
you know,
and I'm not offended.
So many people. But there's so many people get offended by anything. But you do a thing where you have a talk on becoming unoffendable. Tell us a little bit about that.
I will, and I can keep that short. I promise, guys. That is because I was very stuck in victim. I was feeling sorry for myself. How, you know, even though I was doing things that were productive and helpful to others, I was still like, oh, how could this have happened to me? How could my marriage have gone so bad? Why is he doing this to me? You know, hello, that was so victim. And I didn't get it until I really got it, that was what's happening. You know, I was I was offended by everything my ex-husband said. And, and I thought, okay, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So as soon as I started to, one of my favorite books of all time is The Four Agreements, right? The Four Agreements is, always be impeccable with your word, never assume, never take anything personally, and always do your best. So never take anything personally is where becoming unoffendable is, right? For me, I not only played victim, but then if somebody said something that hurt me, I took it personally, or something against me, or he would call me victim sometimes, God, did I take it personally? I let it take me down. And I always cared about what others thought, in college. And I was the youngest of three sisters and the youngest of 12 cousins. So I just did what everyone told me to do because I was the youngest. So I just was like led by these Italian cousins. We were always together. So, everyone just told me what to do. I didn't really have I don't like to say it, I didn't really have a direction of my own. I just did. I worried about what others thought, about me, or if I was doing the right thing, that if somebody thought I was doing the right thing. So for years, that consumed me. And when I finally really comprehended that I didn't have to take anything personally. I didn't have to defend myself. We're so quick to defend and justify ourselves, aren't we? Even when we say sorry all the time, like a lot of people do. And I still catch myself, and I try not to, we don't have anything to be sorry about unless we're actually hurting somebody, do we? Right?
Right. Well, that's why I said before, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Exactly. Exactly.
Sorry, kind of, not really.
Not really.
Sorry,
I didn't do anything to hurt you. That's just, it's so I had to like I had an visionary light around my body because my ex and I got so toxic, very, very toxic, that I had to protect myself from the energy and from what I was thinking he was thinking, or what he was, it was taking me down when I let it take me down. So I had to figure out how to become unoffendable. And that became a big journey for me. And I am so grateful that I feel as though I've risen above that. It doesn't say that something might not nick me a little bit, but becoming unoffendable to what others think, it has been so powerful for me. It freed me. Because I got stuck in that so long. And it just hurts us. What other people think or say or do is none of my business.
Absolutely. And, it's something I like to say all the time too, is stop caring about other people's opinions. Stop giving that so much attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's even, it's simple things as like, I'm still going to try to look good and stuff because I want to feel good about me. But when I used to, maybe I would do that because I was concerned about looking good to others, and women, that's,
So what do you focus on? What do you say to yourself? What do you focus on when you're feeling that, or when you're noticing that?
Well, I'll first of all, I'll look at myself in the mirror and say, stop it, and do some sort of a pattern interrupt, like, why are you caring what that person thinks? Gina, stop it. I literally just say, stop it. And that's for me, that's just makes it stop. But I had to, for years, I had to put this, like, I did a lot of spiritual practice, like Archangel Michael, protect me, guide me, direct me. I get up in the morning and I say, guide me, direct me, surround me, and protect me. I say, God, angels, saints, my guides, please guide me, direct me, surround me, and protect me. I do this every morning. So I'm always praying and meditating and bringing in the higher, I want to live in a high vibration. I want to be protected. I want to envision myself in the highest light. So that's what I do. And those were tools that along the way, I just kept building on, whatever that means, whether it's like, meditation, or you go out and pray and you pray for like I know you, Tony, it's like sometimes when you're out in the morning, you say, I thank you, God, for my physical, mental, emotional, financial well-being. I thank you for my daughter's physical, mental, emotional, financial well-being. And I feel like those things protect me. I feel like, when we're doing the best we can for ourselves and others, that's also protecting me from the darkness, and that's creating a higher vibration within me. And as I feel I love myself more, as I start to, forgive myself and love myself more over time, I felt more unoffendable. I stood tall. I did a lot of Tony, I learned a lot of great things from Tony Robbins and other thought leaders, Wayne Dyer and Abraham Hicks. And I've done years and years of following these people that have made the impact for me to become unoffendable. And when we're unoffendable and we don't care what others think and we don't have to justify, we don't have to explain, it's okay. Then it's so much more peace. It's so much more peace,
Yeah, much more freedom.
Much more freedom.
Right? There's a saying that says, you become, when other people think about you, you reach a dangerous level of freedom. Jose came out and said, my mentor has a book called What You Think About Me Is None of My Business. And that's certainly something that we talk about a lot, because what other people think really is none of your business. It's their own fears, they're projecting their own fears and insecurities upon you. And it's up to you to be whole. That's why I say it all the time, that happiness is an inside job. Don't look for external sources. Don't look for someone else to be happy. Be happy with you, and then it really doesn't matter. I'm going to touch on Orlando actually says, I personally don't care what anybody says or thinks about me. But recently I was told not caring is a bad way to live. And I was like, why? Well, I'll say this to that. And then, or if you want to answer it first, and then I can answer it. Or vice versa. I can go first. So what I think, Orlando, is that while I don't care, I say this all the time. I walk into a room, and I used to walk into a room because of my life and my life's experience, whatever it was, the difficulties and the trials and tribulations and everything else. I would walk into a room because I was a people pleaser, right? I needed everyone to like me. Now I walk into a room, I still want everybody to love me, and I don't give a shit, right? But there's a level to that of understanding that you've got to be okay with you and not care about what other people think about you or how you live. But the caveat is going to be, as long as you are not affecting or intentionally hurting or offending someone else. Because if you are, then, you got to kind of care. And while I say that I don't really care what anybody thinks, there are people that I do care, right? I care about what my wife thinks. I care about what my kids think. I care about what the people that are closest to me, my dear friends, the people that I love and respect and admire. I do care what they think. And anyone who says they truly don't care, then you know what? You don't really live in a world by yourself. But for the most part, what that means is stop caring about what other people think, meaning the masses of asses, as they're lovingly referred to, right? Yeah, care about the people that matter. Again, and I love quoting Dr. Seuss. You guys hear me say it all the time, but those who matter those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Right. Right? So yeah, Jose says you have a context for not caring what anybody thinks. Absolutely, you have a context, because if your actions affect someone else, then you know what? Then you're not living independently, caring about you. You're just being an ass, right?
Yeah.
So people like I don't care. I shower once a week and I don't use deodorant. Well, okay, cool. Then stay in your house, because then when you're out in public, you really should care what other people think, right? Because you're offending them. And by offending, I mean you're interfering with somebody else's life and somebody else's. So there is a level, right? There is a context to that caring about what other people think.
But I want to say something around that, Tony, because one of the things, again, I go back to the 4 grievances. It's like in there he really talks about asking for what you need. So if something's going on now, you learn to ask. Just ask for what you really need, like around that person. If you care that much, if there's something that you need to address, right? Then you address it. That's what also I learned a lot over the time. It's like, oh, I need to ask, like, please don't say that, or that, just being in good communication will make a difference to show if you're caring or not caring, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
So I think we have to ask for whatever our needs are, and not beat around the bush, not worry about if what we're going to say is going to hurt somebody, or, if we know it's something that's actually going to hurt somebody, then don't say it, obviously. But when you are asking for your needs to be met, or asking for an opinion, and okay, whatever you say, I'm not going to take it personally, because I'm asking you to tell me what you think.
And, the reality of it is, I guess I'll just sharpen that up a little bit in the comment that I said before. It's about not caring what other people think that are going to keep you down. Jose says being open and able to ask for help. Absolutely. But not caring what other people. So many people don't, I say it all the time, stop following your dreams. You got to chase them. I agree with that. But some people, never mind, other people's opinions are holding them back, because other people's fears projected upon you are holding you back, because they weren't able to accomplish, they weren't able to achieve, because they have a certain opinion about how you should live your life, or because of how they live their life, because of their relationship to money, because of their relationship to wealth, because of their experience of whatever you're going through. But, you know, we're all different. And I say it all the time. If you believe in something, you know, as corny as like the post that I put up this morning of me like breathing fire. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But, you know, and I said it on the story on Facebook before, but I'll say it again really quickly. I'm at a friend's house who happened to make wine, and he had this smash. And I said, well, you know, I make grappa. And people are like, oh, yeah, you make? I says, yeah, I just brought a copper still from Portugal. And, you know, I make grappa. It's called aguardiente in Portuguese. And I said, I can make it. He's like, oh, come on. You know how to make it? I said, yeah. I didn't live far. I went home. I got it, came back. And I made it, and they're like, oh, that isn't really real. Come on. That's just, you know, whatever. I said, of course it's real. Oh, it's probably not strong. I said, really? Okay. And granted, we already had a bottle or two of wine, so probably more than that because there were many of us. So I just grabbed some, put it in my mouth. I lit a piece of paper, and I blew a fireball that was probably 4 feet long. And it just made everybody like, holy crap, right? People are, I mean, you know, if I was blown in the wrong direction, there'd be people with their eyebrows singed, let's just say that. But I blew a much bigger fireball than I thought I was going to. And I say that why? Because there are people saying, no way, you can't do that, oh, this or that. Their fears, their lack of belief and confidence in themselves, you know, they were trying to project it on me.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, I guess, I'm not telling you to go out there and make grappa and blow fire or any of that stuff. I am telling you, though, if you believe in yourself and whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it. Forget the naysayers. There will always be naysayers. There will always be critics. You've heard me say it before. Brendan Burchard has a great line that says, criticism is the tax you pay for success. So if right now, if nobody's criticizing you, you're not making a big enough impact. You're not trying hard enough. Until you've got critics, until you've got people talking trash, then you know what? You're really not doing it right. So just keep going. Chase your dreams. If you believe in what you're doing, go after it. Stop listening to other people. Stop listening to the naysayers and the people that are always going to try to chew you down, projecting their own fears, their own insecurities, and the fact that they don't have the intestinal fortitude to chase their own dreams.
Yes. I mean, I can speak to that. Like, just even when I started to do Facebook Lives, I mean, just this alone, it started to share my story. And I was like, and I could feel my, you know, I could feel the people out in my world thinking, what is she doing? What is she doing? You know, why is she sharing? Why is she telling people about that? You know, I wasn't out there looking for sympathy. I was out there sharing my story. But somewhere, like, you know, I was thinking, they were thinking, she looking for sympathy? And no, I wasn't. I was sharing my story to see, because I was learning that it would make a difference in someone else's life. And other people were telling me to share my story. Other people were telling me to step up. They see me speaking. They see me sharing. They see me writing books. I'd like people coming on. I can't worry about what I think. If that felt right to me, it felt right to me. But I cared about, like, you know, that whatever I might say might sound stupid or look stupid. It's okay. I'm just human.
Yeah, and they're projecting their own fears. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. You lagged. I thought you.
No, it's okay. I'm done. You take it away. I know we probably have to wrap this up soon.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't mean to interject it. I thought like there was a lag. You froze, and I thought you had stopped. But no, without a doubt, people are just projecting their fears and their own opinions, and because they're afraid of other people's opinions. So they're listening to everyone else who doesn't really matter. Oh, the neighbor from down the street, who gives a shit? Is he in your life? Do you love that person? Do they help you? Do you help them? Are they involved? You know, do they matter? If they matter, okay, figure it out, have the conversation, work it out, whatever. Listen to them. You don't have to do it, but you can listen to them. If they don't matter, if you don't even know them because you've never spoken to them because they live 3 blocks away, they're just in the neighborhood, they're in the PTO, they're in, you know, doesn't matter. But so many people live. Now I lag. There goes again. Worrying more about what other people think outside than worrying about the people that are inside their own house. And then the relationships fall apart, and they don't chase their dreams, and sometimes the things at home aren't going well because they're not thinking about that. They're not focusing where their focus should be. Their focus is elsewhere. And there's so many people that live miserable and live that way. Don't be one of those people.
That's right.
Don't be one of those people. Be like Gina. Gina's a badass.
Yeah. Thank you.
So with that said, tell us again tell us again what the name of the title of your book is going to be, or what, again, it's not 100%,
Yes,
but give it to us.
it's
I love it.
Courage Beyond Grief. I expect it to be out earlier in the beginning of the 2020. That's my plan, and I'm excited for it. And thank you. I mean, you know, it's really amazing because I'm starting to speak and do speaking engagements and things that I know that people have seen me doing and telling, you know, people have seen in me that I was afraid of what other people might think that I wasn't stepping into. And so those things are happening, and I'm excited to be able to share, you know, what ways that I've learned to rise above the pain and empower myself to, you know, make an impact in my own life, and so that I could hopefully help someone make an impact in their own life, that they are going to learn, you know,
Beautiful.
tools to do it. So
beautiful, beautiful. And so Gina is also a life coach, and tell us real quick what you coach to, what your specificity
well,
is.
it is going to be a lot of, you know, so I empower people to rise above their, anything that holds them back from believing in themselves, so that they can live in alignment with the greater good and, you know, start to love themselves more, forgive themselves, become unoffendable. And those are,
Awesome.
you know, things that I've gone through, the experiences in my life that I've overcome and risen above and stepped beyond. And that I know that I've had the gift to help a lot of people along the way do because of what I went through. And so, so I'm grateful and honored to be able to be coaching people out there in the world now, and others to be more empowered and have a better mindset that makes an impact in their lives, so that they can make little changes. You know, if it's those 2 millimeter changes, as Tony says, that make a difference, then that's great. That's what we need. A little 2 millimeter to another 2 millimeters, another 2 millimeters. And that's what it was for me. And it's transformed me. So I really enjoy the opportunity to empower others to transform their own lives.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So if you out there are going through that, or know somebody that needs that type of coaching, that type of assistance, you know, reach out for Gina. Gina, give us your website.
Thank you. It is www.gina-ritchie, RICCI, or Ricci if you're Italian, .com. And that is my website. And, you know, there you can find me.
On Instagram, what's your handle?
My handle.
What's your handle?
My handle is Gina. I still feel funny saying that. It just reminds me of, you know, truckers. Gina.C for Catherine, my middle name, .Ricci, RICCI. So Gina.C.Ricci. Is my handle on Instagram, and I love you guys to anybody who's looking for any, you know, I'm happy to help. Reach out to me on Facebook, on Instagram, on my website, wherever you want to find me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Follow Gina. And there is something, Gina and I are going to be working on something here locally. More information to follow, but we are going to be creating a program where we are going to help you and anyone else who's interested in the area, really the New Jersey area. We're putting something together, which we will announce here shortly, that will help you get up and grow through what you're going through. So I will finish up with this. Oh, you know what? I've got a request from Jose Sanchez that says, Gina, tell us a joke.
Oh, goodness. Jose.
Have you got one for him?
Oh, God.
Or we don't have to. We can hold that one. We can hold that off for the next time.
I'm a bad jokester, Jose. I don't remember them. They come in and they go out. Yeah.
All right. So we can bypass that one because whoa, hold on a second. What the heck did I just do? I just flipped my camera.
Tony.
No, hold on. Oh, thanks. Sorry about that. Did not mean to flip the camera. Yes, it threw me off. So remember that, guys, that everything in life is not about how many times you fall. It's how many times you get up. So if you fall down 7, you get up 8. You fall down 8, you get up 9. And remember that every time you grow, you have an opportunity. Rather, every time you fall, you have an opportunity to get up and grow. So get up and grow, my friends. Gina, thank you so much for spending some time with me. All of you that are watching, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your afternoon. If this video, if you think this video needs to be shared and you know anyone who needs to hear this message, by all means, type their name below, forward this to them, share it on your page, whatever it is. Feel free to do that. Invite them over to watch some Tony Talks. We do this once a week. On Instagram, you can find me at Tony Rodriguez with an S, Tony Rodriguez 2.0. And if you're watching this, you know how to find me on Facebook. And I have another website for you as well, yblsnow.com, yourbestlifenow.com. Appreciate all of you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful Sunday if you live in the tri-state area. And if not, enjoy it wherever you are. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, Gina. Ciao.